Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the JBDC Virtual Biz Zone for Tuesday, March 9, 2021. My name is Sansia Campbell, and I am your host for this morning. A warm welcome to the persons who have been with us before and to the persons who are joining us for the first time. Welcome to you as well. I hope that this morning you will have an enlightening and engaging experience with us here in the Biz Zone. Now, for those who know, they know that the JBDC Virtual Biz Zone is a platform used by JBDC to sensitize our clients about the newest developments in the MSME industry to help particularly our small businesses to recover from and pivot their businesses during these challenging times. And this morning is no different. We have with us representatives from Vertis Technologies, and they are going to share with us on the topic enabling e-commerce success. This is particularly for our businesses that are online, selling online. The ability to engage in e-commerce activities will be critical for your business growth and continuity. And so we wanted to go there this morning so that you understand that we are concerned with every aspect of your business development. Now, our presenters this morning are two gentlemen. One is Mr. Ryan Sterling. He is the CEO of Vertis Technology, and he has been so for the past 7 years, helping individuals, organizations, and communities across the Caribbean to use technology to enable their best. He serves on the Jamaica Postal Board, Jamaica Information Technical Services Alliance, and others. He's also a husband, father, and a serial entrepreneur. We also have with us Mr. Oliver Jardine, who is a web and e-commerce designer with years of experience working with MSMEs, enterprise, and government across the globe. He is always seeking new technologies and methodologies to deliver seamless, scalable, and functional solutions. And that is what JBDC is about, functionality. We want to ensure that whatever solutions we provide to you, it is something that you can immediately go and implement in your business, because we're all about just getting it done and getting it done efficiently. Now, this morning's presentation promises to be very interactive, so don't forget to drop a question in the chat at any point during the presentation. Hold up your hand, we will acknowledge you. And just to remind you as well, the session is being recorded, and so if you know someone who wanted to be in this morning's session but is unable to because of any reason, they can always view it post the presentation on our YouTube channel, JBDC Jamaica. So at this time, I'm going to hand over to Mr. Sterling and Mr. Jardine, and they will take you through the presentation. It's over to you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much. Really do.
Thank you, Sansil.
Thank you so much. A very good morning to everyone who is attending. Really do appreciate you taking the time to really allow Oliver and I to share with you what we are offering, why we are offering it, and how we are doing so. Very good morning. I hope your families and everyone are safe, and really do appreciate you taking the time. Time is an investment, and we are thankful that you have decided to invest that time with us today. So let me share with you who Vertis Technology, who we are, why we are doing it, how we are doing it, and what we are doing. And I won't be long. I will just do a brief introduction and then hand it over to Oliver to really share with you how we are enabling organizations to really offer their services, not only to persons who possibly walking or who visit their website too, but globally as well. So Vertis Technology, we believe that technology is a tool where individuals, communities, and organizations can understand where they are and where they want to go. It's a vehicle that allows individuals, even myself, to really play on a global stage. We are no longer only here competing with organizations and service providers here in Jamaica, but we're doing it regionally. And technology has allowed my organization to offer our services not only here in Jamaica, across the Caribbean, and across the globe as well. We have customers as far as UK. We have some customers that are in North America, Latin America, South America, across, and we're right here in Kingston, Jamaica, right? How do we do it? Is that we have come to realization early that our service can't be restricted by geographical borders. And we understood that the technology is important to do that. I'm seeing there's over 22 persons here in this meeting. And I know each one started with a goal in mind to offer their services, not only to whoever would like it, and not have anyone restricted by saying, oh, they can't come to the location, they're not able to make the payment via hand. You want to be able to, you have a product, you have a service, you want to be able to do and deliver that service wherever you'd like. And that's what we are looking to use technology to do. We offer a wide range of services, cybersecurity, infrastructure, also in terms of team members. We have team members that love what they do and they're dedicated to get you where you want to go. So that's what we have done for the past 7 years, and we're looking to do so. Last year, almost a year to the day, a lot of organizations came to us to say, listen, we want to be able to do things differently. We understand that we're going into a pandemic where it wasn't a pandemic then, but they understood that the way they deliver service could not be the same in like it was in January 2019. So we were able to get them up and running using e-commerce platforms, allowing work from anywhere, not just home, work from anywhere. And we're able to allow them to not only survive through this pandemic, but thrive as well. And that is what we focus here at Vertis Technology, giving organizations, individuals, and communities the opportunity to really thrive, whatever the time may be. So this is going to be an engaging discussion. We are going to also give some prizes. You're taking the time out. We need to give back to you as well. So we're going to be giving some Amazon gift cards, right? Amazon started selling books online, and look where they're doing. So we're going to be giving some Amazon gift cards. We're going to ask Ms. Campbell and the JBDC team to kind of ask some questions and who is participating, take a stock of who is participating, and give you some Amazon gift cards worth of $100 each, right? So it's
that's exciting. We've never had like that in our sessions before, but
no problem. It's
so that's really exciting.
We have to do that. We have to do it. It's our first time Vertis, and we really appreciate team persons coming out on this Tuesday morning, and we want to give back. So we're asking your support in terms of determining who would be those 2 lucky persons who are going to be getting those $100 US Amazon gift cards. Okay.
All right. No problem.
So definitely, please come with your questions. Oliver and I are here to not only share with you what we're doing, but how you can do it. Ask your questions. I believe that for me, I've reached where I am by asking questions. I don't know everything, but I'm always seeking to get the information. You are business owners, you're entrepreneurs. Your goal is to find out how you can deliver your services better, right? How you can be innovative, how you can transform your business. So ask the questions, ask a hard one, ask more the hard one to Oliver, easy ones to me, please, right? but no matter, right? Any questions you have, it's going to be engaging. We're going to have it. I want you to write down your questions in the chat or ask it after the presentation, right? We want it to be interactive. We have the time. You have invested the time, make the time as useful for you as possible, okay? We're here to help. We're here to be your partners, right? During this conversation and after, right? please, no hesitation in terms of that, right? I really wouldn't want you leaving this session and saying, man, I wish I had asked that question, right? No problem, you still can reach out to us, but for the benefit of your fellow attendees, ask the questions as well, okay? So Oliver, I'm gonna hand it over to you. I want you to wow them like you always do, right? And really appreciate everyone again for taking the time to be here, all right?
Thank you, Sir Ryan. I'm going to try and live up to that introduction. Another question. Am I qualified for that Amazon gift card?
Fortunately, not this time. Unfortunately, not this time. But next time.
Okay. All right. A warm welcome to everybody again. And as Ryan, said several times, it needs to be an interactive session. We have long taken the approach of having it to be an iterative process, an interactive one. It's not a top-down, process, because usually a lot of detail gets missed, and you find that the end user is usually forced into a box that usually does not fit or work for them efficiently. And so they spend a lot of time and money afterwards trying to customize the solution that could have been easily carved out or designed specifically for them. So with that in mind, I've put together a little presentation, nothing too long, just for the benefit of those who are wondering about e-commerce, what they're getting into, what it entails, just some tidbit information, give you some thoughts, for you to start looking at, mulling over and deciding, okay, is this for me? I can do this myself, or maybe I need to just wait it out and see if I can really do this. So without further ado, let me just share my screen. And please, folks, stop me at any time. Ask your questions. Like Ryan said, ask the hard ones, and we'll do our best to answer them as accurately as possible. All right, so here we go. We're getting ready for e-commerce. Everybody has heard about it, how much it's making money and what it's doing for the world, and it's a big pie. Everybody wants a slice. Unfortunately, not everybody understands what goes into the back end of it, but it's an old technology, a very old technology, and also an evolving one. And here we go back as far as 1979, where the first end-to-end closed communication was done with a modified television and a computer that can manage transaction using a telephone line. And so that formed the basis of how end-to-end encryption would work coming into the future. Jump forward to 1994, and the first actual, what most people would call a modern day transaction, was made by Phil, who bought an album for $12.48. And back then it was seen as the biggest thing, because here you are jumping on a technology that says you can just sit where you are, browse the product, pay for it, either go pick it up or have it delivered to you. All right. So it really comes down to how much information you have. Companies sell, buy products, sell services. They're engaging in e-commerce in many different ways. And we'll go through the different types of e-commerce later on. Most people only know about two: B2B, B2C. However, as you can see, there's B2A, consumer to business, consumer to consumer. These are concepts that are foreign to a lot of people. Now, the consumer to consumer, a lot of us are engaged in without even realizing it. I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with Craigslist or eBay. They're considered consumer to consumer. A consumer has a part or product or service, and they're selling it or renting it to another consumer. The B2A, wherein you now have the tax administration website that serves as a B2A as well as a B2C. And so you find that as it evolves, companies are creating hybrid e-commerce services. And again, stepping outside of the traditional retail, wherein I have a product and I sell it to you, I deliver it to you, you pick it up, whatever the case may be. You are now able to have a hybrid system and make it work seamlessly for you. Now, I'm sure some of you have heard of drop shipping. That's another version of e-commerce. And what that does is allow you to play the middleman. Yes, it's less work, it's less overhead, you're their face, you're the middleman, so to speak. But the drawbacks are this. The product is not controlled by you, which means the quality could be crappy. It's your responsibility, it's on your head. The time for shipment, if it's not good, it's also on your head. The quality of the customer service, though you may control some of it, really comes down to all you, because you're the face, but you don't control any of those variables. So yes, it's easy to set up and be the middleman, but the trade-offs are so much that it can cost you the business online. All right. So drop shipping has been tossed around for some time, and it's easy to set up. The margins are thin, but is it the way you want to go starting out? Maybe not. All right. So one of the biggest things that you need to do is look at your model. Look at what you can offer. Is it worth it really going into e-commerce? The numbers speak for themselves. Mobile traffic is 50% of the internet traffic. 50%. So when sites are being designed, they actually start being designed from the mobile version up to the desktop version. And that number is set to overtake desktop. So more tablets, more phones are going to be accessing the internet. And so all your sites need to be able to handle that kind of traffic, that kind of screen. All right. And they call that responsive designing. Here you have the global retail e-commerce sale projected $6.5 trillion. That's a lot of money. And with the pandemic, you can understand why it will rise that much. And hence, you know, Amazon making so much money during the pandemic, eBay making so much money during the pandemic, because more and more persons are using this facility. Is it going to downturn? The numbers say no. Definitely going to grow. Where do you fit in that? That's where you start thinking, what can I offer and how do I offer it? Because we all can sell shoes. It's how best you can sell that shoe. The quality of your service, the stability of your site, the customer service has to be on point. All right. And so I want you to think of an e-commerce site as an extension of yourself. How would I treat my customer buying from me? Do I tell them to wait while I fix the problem leisurely? Am I honoring the agreement right up front? Am I going to set, you know, the expectations right up front about how my delivery time is going to work, what they should expect when they buy from me? All these things matter. Amazon was mentioned, and they're global giants because they have spent a lot of time on the upsell, creating unique experiences. So every time somebody hits their site, whilst they're upselling, you also feel like they are looking out for you. And they try to make their products of good quality. They have set standards for their merchants to come on board. So even if you are setting up a global market, a e-commerce market wherein persons will come and sell through you and you broker, you have to make sure and think about how you can set the standard for the quality of product and service that you are going to be the front man or the face for. All right, make sense? Any questions so far? All right. Now, Of course, every technology has its advantages and disadvantages, and e-commerce is no different. And so again, you have to look at, what you are providing and if it's a fit for you. Of course, the advantages are, you reach more customers faster, you can scale easily. So today you're selling 10 products, tomorrow you can be selling 30. The costs are lower, you don't have a brick and mortar store to manage. The electricity is not there, the water is not there, the persons are not there to pay salary. All of those are advantages. No physical setup. You have a warehouse that you ship out of, or you ship out of your own home, however it works for you. The disadvantage, however, is that you have security issues. During shipping times, identities can be stolen, credit card could be stolen. It's a highly competitive playing field. The site itself can be down. And one of the biggest things is that customers can't try before they buy. So there's no personal touch. They'll have to take your word for it, that it's good and it fits well, and or the reviews of your customers. All right, so make note of those. And how much of that you can mitigate. Can you get personal touch? Chances are no, never will. It's e-commerce, it's almost all digital. Shipping times can vary, true, but can you mitigate that? Yes, you can put warehouses in place. You can, ship bulk and then have them distribute from that point. Site being down, you can put things in place where you have redundancies set up, like Amazon. Amazon have servers all over the world. So someone in India will have the same speed and experience as somebody in Australia. Is it the same server? No, they have servers in Australia, in Asia, in the US, in Canada, and it's seamless to the customer. It comes at a cost, yes, but it also helps to mitigate and help the experience. One of the biggest things that persons are shocked at hearing is that even though Amazon sells so much, their conversion rate, meaning persons going online, selecting the product, and actually paying for it, is actually less than 0.2% of their visits. So they don't sell every time somebody gets on Amazon. 0.2%. I want that to sink in, because the notion sometimes is that once I go online and I do the social media marketing and I start the campaigning and I start selling and shouting from the mountaintop how wonderful a product I have, that automatically they're going to see sales through the roof. No. It's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing task. You have to keep analyzing, you have to keep assessing, you have to keep reinventing, representing, repositioning, because it's highly competitive, and you may think that you have the hottest thing right now, but give it a month later and somebody comes with the very same product but present it in such a manner that you're saying to yourself, why didn't I think of that? So you have to keep analyzing. My personal mantra, if it's not broke, improve it. And I always say that to persons. Don't sit down and say, okay, it's working, let's not fix it. If it's working, improve it. Always improve it, and use what I call a stair-step approach. So once you decide to start going down the road of e-commerce, stair-step approach, small changes, small investments over time, which means you can easily roll back at minimal cost to you if something doesn't work. Most of the times, persons will invest a whole lot of money in the beginning only to find that they're not even close to making back their investment. All right. Quick tidbit for some of you folks. I don't know if Sansave know this, but the Things Jamaican shopping site, e-commerce, I actually worked on the first version of it. And how did we capture the products? I took a camera, I took the products, I placed them on a chair, and I sat down and I took photos of them, cleaned them up, uploaded them to the site. Saying that to say, you don't need expensive equipment. You don't need high-end services to start. What you should focus on is your customer service and the quality of your product. And when the customer gets it in his or her hand, they're happy with it, and they're happy with the way they felt using your site, the interaction that they gained, and so viral marketing starts for you. And a lot of that happens in such a way that, you know, persons are saying, but I didn't advertise there. No, it was word of mouth. Trust me, the service and how you make your customers feel makes a big difference. And what is required? Like I mentioned earlier, your mindset. You have to decide if e-commerce is for you. And if you want to get into it, then your work begins. You now have to research, find your niche. Am I good at baking potatoes? Can I bake the sweetest potatoes that you'll ever taste? Fine. If that's your niche, then you start deciding how you're going to market and package that. You evaluate it. Is your product going to be physical or electronic? Am I going to be selling photos like iStock, which is a digital product, or am I going to be selling, you know, packaged baked potatoes? And if so, how do I preserve that potato? Assess my plan. How will I sell it? This potato is going to be the best you've had. You know, it's home baked, whatever the marketing may be. But you have to assess your plan. All right? And it's better that you take your time and assess your plan. When you start, you have your ducks lined up, and then you start moving from step to step. Always assessing, always assessing. And if something is not working, just roll back a little, reassess, and go forward. It's no perfect science because it's such a fluid environment, it's such a competitive environment that what works today may not work tomorrow. All right? And I'm sure persons who have done marketing and business administration would have heard horror stories about businesses like Kodak and Blockbuster, who were ahead of the game, but they did not assess and innovate. And so when the technology changed, when the playing field changed, and they didn't, guess what happened? They went from hero to zero almost overnight. Now, when you look at a company like Netflix, who innovated as they went along, over 50% of the content on Netflix is not owned by them. They don't own it. All right? They rent the license and they show it to you. And that's how they grow. All right? So they don't necessarily create all the content for themselves. And that's another approach. All right? You can find a supplier, you can find somebody who does something really well, and you market it. All right? And you negotiate how will you handle the dividends. But the point is, you have to assess and innovate, and keep doing that. All right? Now, the technology behind the e-commerce are secure web server. You have to make sure that the server is secure from day one. You want layers of security. So you want your server to be secure. You want your store to be secure. You want your access to the store to be secure as well. You have several e-commerce platforms that you can look at. WooCommerce, Shopify. WooCommerce is free outside of the box and provides you with the ability to set up a store quickly, easily, but then they don't take you through how am I going to handle shipping, how am I going to handle stocking my product, none of that. Shopify is the same, all right? Shopify is a paid service and you pay every month. And if you are not making the money, to pay them, you're going to be paying out of the pocket, and you're not seeing the returns. So you kind of have to look at, which one works for you. Are you going to go free outside the box and then gradually ramp up your service because of budgetary constraints, which I would advise you look at first? Or if you have the budget, then you can go with something like Shopify. Anyone who tells you that you don't need an SSL certificate for your e-commerce site is misleading you. It is one of the most important aspects. What is a SSL certificate? It is a certificate, digital certificate, that your site will have. I know you have gone to sites and you've seen the little padlock up in the URL box right there. It allows for each transaction to and from your site to be encrypted. Now, when you're handling data such as people's personal information, their credit card information, you want to make sure that your site is capable of doing that. And of course, browsers are now smart enough and looking out for that, that says, hold on, this site does not look legit at all. And you want to be able to get your SSL certificate from certified bodies, like from GoDaddy. They're one of the popular ones. I can't remember another one off the bat, but there are quite a few out there. And these are certified persons who are legally allowed to give you SSL certificates. And usually when you're getting a website, you don't get that off the bat. Usually have to ask for that. And that comes with an additional cost. Some sites, some hosting providers will give you SSL certificate free in the first year or in the first 6 months, and then you'll have to pay for it then on. And what that says to the modern browsers is that this site is legit, it's fine, the certificate is valid, it was issued by this party, you are feel free to process whatever you need to process on this site. If not, it blocks it and tells the browser, I'm not going to let you go further, something is wrong. All right? Your payment processing gateway. PayPal, probably the most popular one there is. You have a few that's followed up now, Braintree, Stripe. All are payment gateways. And what they simply do is just collect the money, process the card for you, deposit it in your account. Now, persons tend to go with PayPal because it's easy. It's a point and click setup. All right? But that point and click setup takes away a little the human experience that you'll have. Meaning, when I say pay with PayPal, and if I'm using the easy setup, it will take me away from your site, take me onto PayPal, do the transaction there, and then route me back onto the site. For some persons, that doesn't matter, as long as the payment goes through. For some persons, it matters because it doesn't feel like one smooth process. However, PayPal has changed a lot of their policies recently, especially towards the region, sadly because of fraudulent activities. And so they have moved to have any real smooth processing be done by companies within the US. And so you have PayPal Express, the easy setup, and you have PayPal Pro, which is the better experience, but you have to be a registered company in the US to have that. Fortunately, our banks and other companies have recognized this. And so, NCB, Scotia, I think Sagicor recently, all are in the market now of having processing gateways. Some are easy, some are very technical, but all are very, very strict on security, as you can imagine. And so the setup may seem like a long, drawn-out process and a headache, but believe me, it is necessary because they're protecting themselves, they're protecting you, and ultimately your customers. So the layers of security and the checks and balances that they all go through is a necessary evil, so to speak. You have other companies outside that provide the service specifically to the Caribbean. First Atlantic Commerce is one of them. They're popular. They have done work for Digicel. They have done work for PriceSmart. And so, again, there's a lot of checks and balances. They, however, provide a sandbox environment where you can test and check your payments to make sure that everything is okay. And once you're up and running, then you have access to the back end where you can see if a payment failed, why it failed, if a payment was successful, how much a transaction went through. Again, that comes at a cost, and they ask for a monthly fee. So you have to balance it one more time. How much can I afford to pay monthly if I'm not making the money to service that monthly cost? All right. Of course, once you get a secure web server, an email is necessary, or emails are necessary. And it helps when you have yourdomain.com in your email. You can't have Sasha's Beauty and Things and then you have @gmail.com or @yahoo.com. Yes, it's an free service, but it also takes away from the fact that you mean business because you don't have a domain name. So when you have a domain name and a site and all your communications are using mystore.com, then it says you are in this to win it. All right. So a couple of things that you need to be aware of: license, tax laws, shipping zone, and countries. If you are doing international business, then the tax laws are needed to be reviewed, looked at. License, am I allowed to sell this product in this fashion? Am I allowed to sell it in this region? Shipping zones and countries, can I ship in that country? Can I ship in that zone? And if I'm allowed to, how much is gonna cost me to ship in zone A versus zone B? And you have to now take that into consideration when you're sending. I don't know if how many of you have gone on Amazon and you shop, and then they'll tell you this can't go to Jamaica, but it can go here, or this can go to Jamaica, but it can't go somewhere else. You have to look at the laws as well. So get yourself familiar with it, just to understand that you can dot your I's and cross your T's. There is a document that the Jamaican government have on electronic transactions, and that is actually geared towards protecting the consumer than having the business and how they interact with the consumer. Now that document was about from 2007. I think that document was released. I haven't seen an updated version of it since. I know the Consumer Affairs Commission is working on upgrading and making the laws much more applicable today. They do admit that the digital landscape where e-commerce is concerned is way ahead of the legislation that we have in Jamaica, but they're working towards getting that up and running as soon as possible. So just get yourself affair with it. Understand what you're able to do, what your customers are able to do, so you know exactly what's there. And also make sure that you have your privacy policies, your terms and conditions clearly stated, because it's an official way of CYA. All right. If there's dispute resolution, you want to be able to pull on your terms and conditions and say, we did state that we do not store your credit card information. We pass it for processing, and that's it. If you have some fraudulent activities on your card after hitting our site, we can help you investigate, but it's not us. You have to CYA, have to, because you have persons who will lodge complaints, and the ICANN, AICANN body that monitors websites and their behavior will flag you as spam and blacklisted. All right, so be aware of these little tidbits, be aware of these notions, and once you are on top of it, once you make your terms and conditions straight and you abide by them, you should be fine. Now, I promise not to be long, and here I am. So how can Vertis help? Ryan mentioned the team, the technical people, development. We also have training workshops to go into a little more detail as to the step-by-step. Okay, you did this, what's next? You need that, okay. Did you have all of these checked? You have all of these documents in place, and work with you through that. We have the developers to look at what you're trying to offer. You know, let's see how well you want to present something. Can you sell it this way? Are you going to prevent, you know, the competitor by always being on top, by selling as much as you can in a manner wherein the site is always upfront on the social media platforms, or when somebody hits the site, do they have an upsell afterwards? Hey, come back to the site. We saw you were looking at this. You didn't finish. Can we help you with something? All of these are upselling tactics, and all of these can be developed according to your unique requirements. The technical team is definitely there. We have the hardware people, we have the software people, we have the strategy. So we pretty much are ready to take it on, and based on what we have done before, you know, we're ready to hold your hand, we're ready to give you the support, and we're ready to work with you, helping you understand what it is that you need to take the next step. All right, I hope I wasn't too long, and I hope I was clear enough. I hope I did put some ideas in your head, spark some questions. I'm looking forward to them. Let them begin. Ryan,
All right.
I'll pass it back on to you.
All right, thank you, Oliver. Well, looking forward to questions, please. I'm seeing where Sean Dries has a question, but I'll hand it to our moderator to ask, you know, find who has questions. So.
All right, Chandris, I'm gonna unmute your mic and you go ahead with your question.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I am Chandris Foster, CEO of G-Weed Cosmetics, and a mini e-commerce startup that sell online natural cosmetic products. My question is, for small businesses that is at the initial stage, I'm coming fresh out of idea, straight into the market, you know, having developed some feasibility that the product can work. Where's the first place to start? You know, is it a website or is it a storefront? Because especially for physical products, some persons would tell you that a website is not necessarily needed, and what is perhaps needed is a storefront. And how would all the legalities then apply in terms of domain name and the SSL to a storefront where you're in somebody else's space?
Okay. When you say somebody else's space, as in physical space that you're... Hello?
Are you there?
Oh, she's muted. Chandris?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. It's
Yeah.
digital space wherein, you know, that person has, it's like a Shopify, but this is a Jamaican setup where,
Right.
you know, you are given a storefront and you pay the fees and you direct customers to your store. But of course, the domain name would have the parent company or the parent person, the parent host, and you are an extension. So I'm saying, you know, what real improvements can be made in that regard? You know, it's a starting place, of course, but I don't intend to stay there. I would like to one day own my own website and the payment gateway and, be a store in of itself that you can come to and shop and have that experience. But for now, it's a startup, really micro. And it is just what to make do with what I have. But what
Right.
would you encourage in terms of improvements to that aspect? Because there are improvements that I've seen that can be made, but I'm just not sure how to navigate in such a tight space.
Okay. Well, it comes down to the agreement that you have with the parent company. Are they providing the shipping for you? When I buy your product, who handles that? That's what you look at. Because if it's micro and you're just starting out, it says then that you don't necessarily have the budget to start handling that aspect of it, right? So are they providing that right now? Then, start looking at that, working with that, seeing how best you can get a little more, I guess, face. But I would not say jump out on your own, because for you to get a website is going to cost you as little as, say, 150 US for the year. That's just to get the domain name on the website, 150 US. And then you're talking about getting the SSL certificate. If it's not one of those hosts that doesn't give you the free certificate up front, then you're talking about another, 120 US for the year as well. So right away, you see how your budget climb. All right. And then whilst you don't need physical space, how will you get your product to your customer? That's the biggest thing. And a lot of times persons don't look at that. How will I get my product to the customer? All right. If you have an arrangement in place that allows you to do that right now, I would say continue to work with that until you have got the budget to do it differently. All right. The other improvements that you are noticing, I mean, if they're in-house, straightening up and tweaking to make the process a little more efficient, and by all means, go at it one at a time, slice at a time is what I say. Are we responding to our customers fast enough? Are we making sure that they understand where this is coming from? Are we looking at, how, if they're going to pick up, are we going to deliver to them? These are things that you look at. But launching out on your own right now, when you don't have the budget, is going to not only slow your growth initially. And I'm not saying table it. I'm not saying put it aside. I'm saying you have to also be realistic, because you don't want to invest. And then when somebody is coming at you, when you have your orders picking up, you can't fulfill, then it's no damage control. And that hurts you in the long run.
Yeah, Oliver, I just want to interject here. One of the very popular quotes that I've been seeing lately is that perfection is not required to start.
No.
It's not required. Start and perfect as you go along.
Yes.
So that's very important. I want to interject here. There was a presentation that we had last week that spoke about exporting. And they were also talking about online as well as offline businesses. But it's important for our local e-commerce businesses to note that there is a trade license that is required whenever you are shipping overseas. So you need to not only find out what's required in the other countries, but what's required from your home country as well. So even if it's a single item, so if you get an order for a single item from a country that is not Jamaica, a trade license is required. So ensure that you know that. All right, so there are a couple of questions that are in the chat. Kalisha Bennett is asking, I was clear on the whole shipping to other countries. Is it that a license? Oh, that's the question that I saw that I responded to. So is it that a license is required to ship to other areas? Yes. Somebody said, love the presentation. Thank you. Kalisha is also asking again, do I need to be registered as an online business? Do you know that, Mr. Jardine?
All right. One of the wonderful things about the platform at this point in time is that you can become an online business and you're registered as far as your domain name is concerned. So, www.kalisha.com, and that's your registered business. It helps for you to be a registered business as well, because when you start engaging payment gateways like First Atlantic or even PayPal, they are going to want to see your business registration. Who are you? How long have you been in business? Send me your documents in some cases before we can approve even integrating with you. So it does help to register. Most people don't bother with that. They just buy a domain name and they use the quick PayPal connection, and then that's it. But it then comes back to what kind of product you have and the kind of business that you want to have going forward. All right, so it does help to be registered as a physical business.
Absolutely. And to also interject here, again, I'm overstepping my bounds as a host, but
No, man, go ahead.
A little bit of book knowledge. Once you get to the point where, especially, you are trading in other countries, not to say that our local consumer group is not important, but when you get into trading with other countries, have all of your documentation, all of the papers then that you're supposed to have to operate in your local country, make sure that you have them, because you don't want, again, the stereotypical conversation to come up, oh, Jamaica is not this or Jamaica is not that. Ensure that you have all the documents that are required, and that includes registering with the Companies Office of Jamaica. Very, very important.
Yes, that is so true.
Question. US 150, they said 150,000, I'm not sure, for a website. What is your suggestion about building a website via Wix.com?
Okay. Wix and Squarespace provide the same service, quick drag and drop, get things done. You don't need to know to code. You don't need all of that. What you see, what you get. Nice interface, and it works for the most part. If you are going to have a unique name, however, you're going to have to come out of pocket for them to give you a unique domain name. What I find with Wix is that a lot of times it boxes you in. All right, they do things just like Shopify. They do it in a particular fashion. They do it in a particular way, and you have to stay within that box if you're going to stay on the platform. All right, but in terms of pulling a template, populating that template with your information, yeah, man, you can come up with something overnight, and that's attractive. What they don't tell you is that when you're ready to expand and ready to become dynamic, is that they go, okay, you need this, you need a little money. You need this, you need some more money. And they do that. Whilst when you are free for all, so to speak, using a platform like WooCommerce or probably PrestaShop, all free out the box, and they allow you to grow faster in terms of your services. But bear in mind that whilst they give you a lot outside of the box, for you to really get the good stuff, you have to come out of pocket. So if you want to upsell, you want that functionality, yes, we can give you that functionality, but it's going to cost you a little. If you don't want that, yeah, man, everything else is free. If you want to do a cart follow-up, yes, you can, but it's going to cost you a little. If you want to be able to print your invoices, PDF, when the customer buys something, yeah, man, we can do that. It's going to cost you a little as well. So it comes down to, do you want to pay a lot up front, or are you going to pay a little as you go when your functionality becomes a need? All right, and as Sansia said, you don't have to be perfect. Just be consistent. Be consistent. Your customers will appreciate that you appreciate them when you communicate and you follow up and you're consistent in what you say you're going to do. We're tolerant people, you know, we're tolerant. Just let us feel like you appreciate us. Bottom line, good old business sense.
Yeah, and just to add as well, your website, your interaction, your customers are going to be coming to you for an experience, right? And as Oliver said during his presentation, your e-commerce platform, your website is an extension of you. It will speak to in terms of when the customer goes, they'll be saying, okay, this business, by how it's presenting itself, is a business that I want to do business with. So that is how you would need to present. So there is going to be an investment that you'll make up, sir, but it's an investment in yourself, the investment you're delivering an experience that you want your clients to receive, and they'll return. We, as Oliver said, we just want to know that as our customers that we're appreciated. When we interact with you, we're getting that experience. So that once we know that, hey, we don't necessarily need to come in, we can sit at the comfort of our home and interact with the business. Because I'm telling you, if you don't, another business will, and they'll go to you. Whether they may like your product, but the experience that they're getting is not good, they'll go somewhere else.
All right, I'm happy you came in here, Ryan, because Chantal wants to know where she can get more training or information from the presentation.
Sure, you visit us, Chantal, www.vertisjm.com. You share with us what you're looking to do, right? And we'll set up a session with you. Oliver and his team will set up a session with you, and we'll take you to from let you know where you are now and where you're looking to go. And we work from you to start to finish. And then after finish, we'll support you as well, because as you grow, you're going to need the support, and we'll support you throughout that process.
There is a point that I wanted Oliver to go over for us, and it is the question of, well, not a question, the idea of mobile optimization for your e-commerce websites. I know you mentioned that 50% of the persons that shop online usually do so from a mobile phone, right?
Yes.
All right. So I wanted to reiterate that point, because a lot of e-commerce websites I'm finding, especially the local ones, they are not optimized for mobile. So you find that instead of going on the site, fitting or formulating to whatever specs your phone has, you have to be scrolling across.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
exactly.
if you could just reiterate the importance of that for me, please.
Right. So it's very important that we understand that how sites are designed these days is from mobile up. That's the approach. Gone are the days when they design the site for the desktop and then make the adjustments or have a separate site altogether for mobile experience. I don't know if persons remember the days when you had to go m.domainname.com, and then that would give you the mobile version of the site, which is usually a slightly different one. The technology now has changed and has evolved into what you call responsive design. And responsive design says, whatever device is asking the site to load, it recognizes it and adjusts itself to fit that device. All right, so any scrolling that you're going to be doing is the natural scrolling that you would do on a tablet, swiping up, swiping down, swiping up, swiping down on a phone. All right, and still not taking away the experience or the information that is needed. Very important that you ask the question, is this site responsive? If they say, what you're talking about? Is this mobile ready? Is it mobile responsive? All the same terminology come down to the same thing. In other words, will my site look good on a mobile device? Whether it be a Samsung, HTC, iPhone, whatever the case may be, once the phone can load a site, it should fit nicely. No, it's not going to fit every single device, but best believe that when somebody hits your site, 90% of the chance it's going to be from a mobile device. All right. So please bear in mind, yes, you'll have persons that says, I can give you a website that is this, and it can cost you $5. Fine. But ask the questions. Nice. Is it mobile responsive? Is it responsive? Is it mobile ready? Ask the questions. All right. Because you can get a site for $5, but if it's not mobile friendly, you're going to have to spend to get it mobile friendly. You know?
All right, thank you, Oliver. Sheldon is asking, how would a small food business selling perishable items start out doing business online?
Okay. All right. How do you sell now? You can start selling online by simply giving your information to be contacted. You know, if you are not able to start shipping or delivering, and you do deliveries yourself, then you can say, here is a nice photo of a, some yellow yam. And it's the best that you'll ever see. Contact me so and so if you want a pound. And you start that way. But you wouldn't have to be perfect in that you have to set up all your products. You simply can now start creating packages. Here is some yam, some pumpkin, some scallion, and we call this Soup Friday. And you package that. Contact me, and the bag costs X amount of dollars. I deliver to you, and the money costs this for delivery. And you package it like that.
Right? And there are a lot of models like that around now, especially with how COVID is doing. There are a lot of online farmers markets, not just selling produce, but selling meat.
Right.
And they work. People
exactly.
make their orders based on, the flyer or whatever, and it's delivered. So it can be done, Sheldon. So look into it and see what you can get done.
And here, Sheldon, give this some thought. You're selling online doesn't always entail the transaction being done online. To start out, you can say, place your order here, and your website collects all the orders. Of course, every time somebody places an order, there's an automated response. Thank you for your order. We will make sure that we deliver so and so and so. If for any further information, you can contact us at. And your website collects all the orders, and all you do is go to your website or go to the email that collects all those orders, and you fulfill them. And if you need to reach out to those persons, you'd have the contact information. So your site can provide, a brochure face and then collect information for you to process. So you can look at it that way as well.
Okay. All right. Other question. Can a person sell through someone else's e-commerce platform, and does your company do that?
Yes, persons can sell through another person's platform. It's actually a very commonplace now, and Amazon has moved
the same
to
like
that.
Drop shipping?
Similar to drop shipping, yes.
Okay.
Similar to drop shipping. However, drop shipping in itself is you taking it on and being the face of those products. Amazon has now moved from not just a B2C, but now a e-commerce marketplace wherein several vendors are selling through their platform. So you can do that. The end you're on now, if you are selling through the person's platform, you have to ensure that what they're providing to persons actually helps your product look good or help you look good. All right, so it has to be a balance.
Okay.
And
go ahead, Oliver.
No, well, I was just saying Vertis does not do that, but we certainly can assist you getting up and running.
That's it. We don't have an e-commerce site, but we help you to transition. So we are here just to ensure whatever direction you take is an informed one, and it's one that allows you to get value and your customers to get value as well. So that's what we're looking to do.
All right, so she's saying that she was told that Amazon doesn't do that from Jamaica. You have to be living in the US. Are there any sites, local sites, that would facilitate something like that?
Oh, you mean in terms of it being a market, getting involved in a marketplace?
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
marketplace.
man. Amazon, the region unfortunately has a stigma. We're
Fraud.
slowly getting over it, but it's killing us in a lot of areas. I think virtual mall
Okay.
was one place I heard of who is kind of taking on that approach. I know there are other places
And
that
there's
thinking of
this
coming on
one,
board.
they advertise it every night just before the news. Click Market, I think.
And
not
there's
sure.
I'm seeing one in the chat called shopgimmemart.com as well. As there's Qmall, I say there. So yeah,
Right.
I think those are ones. But there's many out there. It's really, as I said, we can advertise, we can help you to make the best one that helps you. But there's a lot that I'm seeing organizations offering a platform for businesses to really get on that e-commerce train, you know.
Yeah,
All right,
it's a lot. It's a lot. For those persons thinking about it, go back to the mindset that I mentioned earlier. You know, decide if this is where you want to go. Decide the kind of business that you want to have. You want to have a drop shipping? Do you want to be selling through somebody else's site? You want to be selling on your own? Work out all of that, because there's so much information out there that can come at you, it will cloud your judgment. So start small and be clear on where you're going to fit in the marketplace, how you're going to conduct your business in the marketplace, because that now is going to help you make better decisions. All right? We can sell you 10 ways till Sunday, but come back to what is it that you want. All right?
Definitely. And we can, as Oliver said, this is what it really starts with you. Remember, this platform is an extension of you. The website, the e-commerce platform is an extension of you. What are your values? What is it that you want your customer to be saying this business represents, right? The experience that you give them is very key, because that is how you grow. That is how you realize what you really want, right? Which is a thriving business. So once you invest in getting it, and it has to be, it can be incremental, but it has to be executed well, right? So that is what we are looking to offer, execution, right? That to get that experience to where you want it to be.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat. I don't know how you're going to give away your Amazon gift.
You decide. You're the moderator.
Oh gosh.
You decide.
What?
There's 100 gift cards. We need to give them out and not carrying them back to the office. I need Amazon gift cards to be given out.
All right. So I'm giving one to a male and one to a female. So even if you know the answer, the first hand that I see, and that is the hand up notification. Don't write it in the chat. Hold up your hand. We want to hear your voice. All right. Oh boy. Let's see. There is a popular payment gateway that many persons use when they are conducting e-commerce business, and Oliver mentioned it. Damali, you couldn't even make me done with the question. Oliver mentioned it in his presentation. Damali, I hope you have the right answer. I'm going to open your mic and you go ahead Are you unmuted? All right, let's try it again.
Good morning. Would that be PayPal?
Mr. Jardine, did you mention PayPal?
Yes, I did.
Damali, congratulations, you are a winner. We're gonna have to figure out how you're gonna get this. Well, I'm sure Ryan has a way of getting it to you.
We'll share the information. We just need her email and we'll send the connection there. Yes.
All right. Email address. I would have her email address because she had to put in one in order to register for the session. Odane, please put down, lower your hand because I don't ask the next question yet, and I don't want to give you, I don't want it to be. All right, so let's go for the second question now. I don't like to be put in these positions, you know.
No, I can ask it. I can ask the next question.
All right, please go ahead.
I'd say name the 3 things that you need to be aware of once you're going into e-commerce.
All right. All right, we did say we're gonna do a male and a female. So even though Chandri's hand went up before everybody else, I'm gonna go with, what is that? I'm gonna say Damian Johnson. So Damian, I'm gonna unmute your mic.
The 3 things that you need to be aware of.
Damian, is it that your mic not working?
Amen. Don't lose out on this opportunity. Now you're going to go to someone else.
Hi, everyone can hear me?
Yes, Antonio, we're hearing
Yes, sir, I'm hearing you.
Damian is here.
Damian,
Yes.
what happened to your mic?
Why? Yes.
Antonio, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to allow Damian. All right, go ahead, Damian.
Okay, so it's you should be aware of the license required, the tax laws, and the shipping zones / our countries.
That is correct, sir. That is correct.
Yes.
Wonderful. Damian, is that the correct spelling of your name?
No, it's not. But
I figured
could,
as much.
Yes, I could text it to you.
All right. No, we have your email address.
All right.
That is how you got in. So we'll send you the email. I'll pass it on to Mr. Sterling and he will make contact with you. All right. You're welcome, sir. All right. So any final comments, Mr. Jardine or Mr. Sterling?
There was a question that I saw someone ask. I don't know if Oliver wants to tackle it before he leaves. I don't know. There's a question about payment gateways with Scotiabank.
About the implementation.
Yes.
It has always been difficult. I can't say it has gotten easier, to be honest with you. To tell you the truth, Scotia came into the playing field to try and make it easy for us to establish. All right. So some persons don't mind the NCBs, some persons don't mind the Scotias. It's a case by case. But if you're looking at that, there's Scotia, there's Sagicor that you could look at as well. Point of information. We work with anyone, all right, to get you up and running. But yes, it's not as simple because you have what they call 3DS security, and that requires, layers upon layers of security, the numbers, the expiration date, the addresses, the names, whether or not this card has been flagged for fraud, the whole heap of checks and balances. And what Sagicor has said out in the marketplace, so I can say it now, is that they are trying to just have it seamless, plug and play for you, point and click. So I think that was, let me see the chat. I think that was Sir Jackson, Kevin Jackson. You could actually look at Sagicor, but it's always been a tricky process.
All right, thank you so much, Oliver and Ryan, for joining us this morning. Damian, if you could just type your correct name and email address in the chat so that I can pass, so that Mr. Sterling can get that as well, it would be great. I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thank you for sharing the wealth of information that you have, and invite persons. Ryan has dropped in the chat the website address, which is www.vertisjm.com. There is also sales@vertisjm.com and rsterling@vertisjm.com. You can feel free to contact them, and they will be able to provide you with additional information as you may require. Just to remind everyone that the presentation, this morning's presentation, has been recorded and it will be available on JBDC's YouTube channel at JBDC Jamaica. So all you have to do is just subscribe to us and you will be notified once the presentation has been uploaded. I also want to remind you that though we are working remotely, our offices remain open. There are persons there. You can give us a call, 876-928-5161, and it goes up to 5, and we will direct you to the relevant person, even if they are working from home. You can also visit our website, www.jbdc.net, or send us an email at info@jbdc.net. So we are open and we are ready to assist you in the continued development of your business. Again, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us, and have a great rest of the day, everybody.
Thank you, folks. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Take care. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.